we were started out doing renovations and we're rebuilding houses and turning them back into their original luster from the 1800s. Uh,
Wow.
and those are a lot of houses down in the Westchester area from where we are. Market started to change not too long after that, and I went to work for a much larger waterproofing company.
It's time for another episode of Rainmaker for Contractors. Interviews and success stories with million-dollar-plus basement waterproofing and foundation repair owners. Discover how they market and grow their companies in today's economy. Hear directly from the most successful leaders in your industry. With your host and Rainmaker for Contractors owner, Bill Crawford.
Hey, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us. Today I'm super excited to be joined by a longtime colleague, Christian Sundahl from Sundahl Waterproofing. Christian, thanks so much for joining today. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Nice to see you again, and thanks for having us on.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm thrilled. You have been in this industry a really long time, and I'm looking forward to kind of hearing your story and getting some of the insights that you've picked up over the years. Can you start by talking about your company and what services you offer, like what city you're in, and
Sure, sure.
yeah,
So
go ahead.
we've been in business since 2003, and we deal with basement waterproofing, foundation repair, and concrete lifting.
Okay. And what city are you in?
Oh, sorry. Yes, we are in Larchmont, New York.
Okay. All right. You New Yorkers, those guys are tough to deal with.
Yeah.
Concrete lifting is interesting. I'm kind of seeing that pop up throughout the country. Not everywhere, but definitely there's some of our clients have picked up concrete lifting. And how did you get into basement waterproofing out of all the different trades to get into?
Well, we were started out doing renovations and we're rebuilding houses and turning them back into their original luster from the 1800s. Uh,
Wow.
and those are a lot of houses down in the Westchester area from where we are. Market started to change not too long after that, and I went to work for a much larger waterproofing company that was out of the area. And after a year or two with them, I just really didn't like the way things were working out with them and the way they were doing things. And then I came up to New York and opened up in New York, and we've been going ever strong ever since.
That's awesome. That's great. And all right, so you've been in the business a long time. Well, I guess, let me ask you what are you doing differently that, the company that you worked for a year or two, didn't do? And what I've noticed is sometimes these bigger companies, it's either like they treat employees like, just like nothing, or it's all about numbers. They don't care about the customer. Sometimes decision making is compromised because of the dollar. Like, what did you see, and how is your company run differently?
Well, you are correct with every one of those pieces. And the biggest thing that we've done to make our business as successful as it is that we put in a personal touch with everything. So the people that we have that are always communicating with the clients, the potential clients, the new clients, the existing clients, you get to know the individuals that you're working with, and you're not just sitting with a salesman at one point and then you don't ever hear from that person ever again. So with us, I'm on almost every single job, running around throughout the days, checking on everything, making sure everything's good, talking to the client personally. And basically just that personal touch has made a huge difference in the difference between the way that we run our business and the bigger box store kind of places run theirs.
Got it. So one thing stands out. So it sounds like you and your sales reps, like when they sell a deal, they sell a waterproofing job, they're not just handing it off blindly to some production department, some people that they're going off of notes. Your people are actually going to the job site, meeting with the homeowner, making sure the homeowners are happy.
Yes, yes. As a matter of fact, earlier today was at a job that we were starting brand new, and I was down there on site with the inspector, and we went over everything again with the homeowner just to put them at ease. And they really, really, really appreciate that. And it makes a huge difference for them and what they say when they talk to other companies as well in the bidding process. And they choose us over them because we have that personal attention.
Nice. I did notice that you have a 5.0 Google rating, and it's very rare to have that. So I'm guessing you're working really hard to make sure you do a great job and that the customer's happy. Yep. Is that important value over there at Sundahl Waterproofing?
The reviews are huge, and we get that quite often where a client calls up and they're looking to set up an appointment with us initially. And the first thing they say to us is wow, your reviews are stellar. I mean, we read a bunch of them, and there's not a really bad review at all on there at all.
Nice. Nice. Now, you being the owner of the company and you're not hooked up into like a distributor, or you're not locked into a franchise center. So there's not someone from Wall Street, dictating to you what products you're going to have to buy from them. You kind of get a lot of freedom to choose the products that are going to work well. Can you say anything about like how you went about picking, why do you work with the products that you choose? And I am very aware of a lot of suppliers, and there's quite a few choices out in the industry.
Well, it's an interesting dynamic here in New York. As you can imagine, we deal with a lot of rock ledge. We deal with a lot of sand in certain areas. We have other things that just, are quite unique to the industry that are not throughout anywhere else in the country. So with our work and what we do, we actually use different things depending upon each and every situation so that we know that that job will get done perfectly, so that we don't have to go back. And we don't want to go back, obviously.
For sure. Nor do they want you back, right?
No, they don't. But it does happen here and there. Pump situations. Other than that, mechanical wise, the designs that we do and come up with are quite unique here and there because of the foundations and what we have to deal with.
Nice. So you kind of have your products based on the wide variety of foundations that you're running into New York.
Yeah,
and it's all the custom made. So, all right, I find that pretty advantageous, because sometimes I've learned that when a headquarters is from another city, they don't always understand the foundations, or quite honestly, the soil types that are in different areas. And I know, some pumps react to different water in different ways, depending on where you're in the country. So, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Someone locally really understands the industry. So when I owned my waterproofing company in Chicago, as a business owner, things could be stressful. I had a brother-in-law that said, like, man, your job is like the stock market. Like, you're either thriving or you're like, nervous as heck. Sometimes things would happen. And as an owner, it sometimes felt like the world's like caving in on you. Like, this is crazy. Like, this is nuts. Like, how am I going to get out of this? But then you work through it, and then you look back and you improve your systems, and you make sure that never happens again, and you make right whatever had to be done right. And you're a better company because of it. And only really, veterans, people who have been in the business a long time can point to different scenarios like that. Can you think of a time in your ownership career where you thought like, oh, this is a mess, or this is a nightmare, and it actually, you worked it out and it turned out to be, a better situation in the long run?
Well, I would have to say it's more perseverance in my opinion. Over the time and that we've been in business, we've had smaller companies and come and go, bigger companies come and go, and we've stuck around through perseverance. One of the other downfalls is you get a heavy rain and you start getting all these other little companies that just pop out of nowhere and want to do waterproofing, and they never do anything right. And then we always have to go back and redo what they've done. But then there's the times where you have your droughts, which is where we're in right now. And New York State is in a drought, has been for about a year. And, those are the trying times when we see those other companies just go away. But with our business here in New York, with the foundation repair, we are also having a bunch of different options that we can do while we're in those down times and seasons. We can do crawl space encapsulations. We can lift houses. We can, not right now, but in the other times of the year when we have the droughts, we can deal with the concrete lifting a little more. So there's a bunch of different things that we use to work in those down times when it's not as nice, when it's 10, 12 inches of rain like we got 2 years ago.
Crazy. So you go from dry times to 12 to 14 inches of rain.
Exactly.
And you're still surviving. You're still around.
We're still around. 22 years later, been great.
We've had several listeners express interest in being guests on our podcast, and we think that's fantastic. If your company generates over $1 million in revenue and you believe you have valuable insights to share, we'd love to hear from you. Additionally, if you are a supplier to the industry and want to explore partnership opportunities with Rainmaker, we're open to discussing collaborations. Finally, if you're a basement waterproofing or foundation repair contractor looking to boost your online marketing efforts and generate more leads, reach out to us. We're here to help you grow.
Lifting houses must be a challenge. What
Yeah.
can you tell us about lifting houses?
Well, nowadays with the products that they actually have with lifting of a house, it's actually a lot easier. Our first one we actually did, we didn't have the stuff that was available, where we would actually literally take the house and we would have pump jacks and literally 20 or 30 of them down in the basement, put them in strategic places and lift the whole house up in its place. But now with the machinery, you just need a couple of pieces of I-beams and 2-3 machines total, and you can lift it, move it, shift it, and do whatever you want.
That
Like,
that is crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I couldn't imagine what kind of machines or the cost of those machines
Yeah.
that could lift a house. So, wow. Okay. What can you tell us about your crawl space encapsulation service?
Oh boy. Well, actually, if you go on our website, you'll see a lot of different photos that we've provided from beginning to end with them. I mean, it's a huge benefit for the client, with environmental situations, molds, mildews, things of that nature. And we use microbial materials. And these are areas that people, even as another contractor going in to look at something, you don't really want to go in those places. They're nasty and gross and they smell, and, mouse droppings and God only knows what else you have down there. I've even been in one where I've had snakes down there.
Oh boy.
Yep. And, and it helps clean up the basement, the crawl space area, and helps with the heating for the house, because you have your house above that. And if there's ventilation or non-ventilation, things of that nature, humidity levels, it really helps with the whole health of the entire household.
You sound like a true veteran. A lot of different, I bet anyone in the basement waterproofing business who's been there for a while, they could probably write a book on just all the crazy different scenarios that you've been in. Hey, if you were kind of winding up here, if you were to give some advice to someone new in the business, or if you were to kind of coach yourself being new in the business, like what would you tell yourself if you were just getting into the business now with what you know?
Well, again, going back to the perseverance, I think is key. And also, not taking baby steps. One of the biggest things I think with our company is we did start with baby steps. I should have done a little bit harder and started out a lot faster than we did. But over time, it's worked out, and now we just go full force with everything we do.
Okay. Easier to say in retrospect though, right? Because what that tells me is when you want it to go forward, you want it to be sure that this is the right step. And so you're a little bit cautious, trying to collect a little more information. But now that you're on the other side of it, you're like, oh man, I wish I would have just put my foot on the gas pedal and gone forward.
Exactly.
Yeah. What else you got there for, say, someone just getting into the business? Any other tips of wisdom to pass along?
Just getting into the business. Let's see here. I would think that, getting your proper advertising together and having that ahead of time and a game plan with the advertising is the most important thing. We've done everything as far as the advertising goes, and, door knockers. We still do door knockers. We do a whole bunch of different options, mailers, flyers, things of that nature. But the internet obviously nowadays is the number one thing, and knowing the internet, which I am not as savvy with, that's why I have some people that do that work for me, helps out and makes it so much easier. And prior to the internet, it was very difficult. It was all yellow pages and money mailers and things of that nature. Now everyone's looking through the internet, and if you don't have the basics or even understand a little bit about it, it's unbelievable. But with our methods and everything that we've been using, we have tripled our volume just with the internet and everything that's been going on with it.
Nice. Well said. I tend to agree with you. That's great. Hey, Christian, thank you for being on the show. Really
Thanks
insightful,
for
really
having me.
helpful. Appreciate it. Take care.
You too.
You've been listening to the Rainmaker for Contractors podcast, where basement waterproofing and foundation repair business owners and industry experts share marketing and sales information that helps you reach more customers. Please leave us a review on iTunes or your favorite podcast platform, and get all of our show notes at rainmakerforcontractors.com/podcast.